Hi there, working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte from Charlotte Jones 24/7 and My Little Homeschool. And this is episode number 100 of the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. I'm so glad that you're here with me, that you've taken this journey with me. And I really appreciate the little break that I was able to take. It was very much needed. So I'm back now with season 3 of the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. So a few things are going to happen differently for this episode because it is the 100th episode, and 100 is definitely kind of the theme. So firstly, I've gathered 100 tips for new working homeschool moms, and I've kind of collected these along my journey, which started out in 2017, and also from talking to many working homeschool moms. And these are the things that we have found have helped us to take this journey, which is not always easy and which can be very messy and overwhelming at the beginning. You can get the 100 tips as a useful checklist, as a PDF, and I will leave that link in the show notes so you can download that for yourself, especially if you're starting out as a new working homeschool mom. It can really help you. And then in celebration of this being the 100th episode, I'm also giving away $100. So I'm doing a giveaway. You will also find details in the show notes. And I just want to say thank you for coming along with me on this journey. And here's to 100 more. But before we get to the episode, I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, or you could forward this episode to a new working homeschool mom who might need some support and encouragement. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Hi there, and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm your host, and I am a podcaster, a speaker, a writer, and a homeschooling coach, specifically for working homeschool moms. I've been homeschooling my neurodivergent twin boys since 2017, and I've been a working homeschool mom since 2017. So I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom. I cover things like time management, homeschooling, mindset, and lots of other juicy topics like that. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. And I also welcome experts who can help you on your working homeschool mom journey. I have lots of ways to support you, so be sure to check them out in the show notes. You can download my time audit as your first step to managing your time better. I have a Facebook group for working homeschool moms that you can join as well. And be sure to sign up to my newsletter for weekly updates. And if you need additional support, you can join the WHM Collective, which is a supportive community of working homeschool moms where we delve deeper into topics that are going to help you thrive as a working homeschool mom. Or if you need one-to-one support, be sure to book in a session with me. I'm so excited for you to be here, and I know you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Working homeschool mom, I know how overwhelming it can be to choose a math curriculum for your homeschool. That's why I'd like to tell you about the online math curriculum we've been using for years, ctcmath.com. As far as math curriculums go, it has loads of great features that solve lots of the math issues we've had, and I know a lot of homeschooling families have. Here are just a few of the many features that we really like. Questions are adaptive, which means the interactive questions change in difficulty depending on the student's ability. The program uses a smart algorithm that tracks the student's progress and delivers questions based on their exact needs. The student doesn't even know this is happening, helping them to build confidence and master math concepts. Concepts are delivered through video tutorials and summaries which are clear, complete, and easy to follow. It's like having your very own teacher. This ensures your children understand something before they're asked to practice it. And then for us parents, CTC Math has extensive reports which are so valuable in monitoring your child's progress and spotting any gaps. And they offer a 12-month money-back guarantee if this curriculum is not for you and your family. CTC will provide a full refund, no questions asked. But I think the most important thing is a whole lot less stress when it's math time for both parents and kids. You get to outsource math with confidence, and your kids get a fantastic tailor-made program that makes learning and mastering math enjoyable and positive. Visit CTC Math today to start your free trial. CTC Math is also offering you, listener, an amazing special. When you go to ctcmath.com/MLH, you can get a half price discount plus a bonus 6 months for free. That's ctcmath.com com/MLH. So it's very tempting to kind of read the 100 tips to you, but I think that is going to be incredibly boring. So I just want to let you know how I've divided up the 100 tips and kind of select some of my favorites as well. And then, like I said, if you want all 100 tips, you can download it in a handy PDF checklist. Let's just start with being a working homeschool mom, that beginning bit. Balancing work and homeschooling can be super challenging for a new working homeschool mom. And I know because that is exactly how I felt in 2017. And it really took me a while to kind of find my groove. It can be so overwhelming because everything feels important. So in order to answer the question, how do I even get started? Because I know a lot of working homeschool moms or working homeschool moms, or those who are considering being working homeschool moms, ask me this. How do we even get started? How do I get this done? How do I balance it all? So in order to answer these questions and to help you to take those first steps with clarity and confidence, I've created these 100 tips so that you can focus on the things that are important and leave the rest. So it's divided into 5 sections, and each section has 20 tips. Those sections are time management tips, curriculum and learning tips, organization tips, self-care tips, and mindset tips. So with these 5 pillars, I'm hoping that they will help you to just feel more confident as you take those first steps. Okay, so let's start with time management tips. As a working homeschool mom, you wear a lot of hats, obviously. You're working, you're homeschooling, running a house, you're trying to stay fit, all of those kind of things. So time management is super, super important. So I think one of the important things about time management is to have a really good schedule. This can help to guide you through your day and to make sure that you also have time for yourself. It's so important to have you time as well, to have me time, to have self-care. All right, so let's have a look at the 20 or some of the tips that have helped me in terms of time management. Okay, so first of all, I think it's really important to know your values. You need to be crystal clear about what's really important in your life, and it will help you to spend time on things that are aligned to your values. Because if you're spending time on things that are not aligned, you're going to very quickly feel like you're burnt out and you're going to get frustrated. Setting clear boundaries is also really important. So you need to establish firm boundaries for when work and homeschooling will take place. And then I think it's super important to be really fully present in each task. So when you're homeschooling, you're homeschooling. When you're working, you're working, because this means you're going to use your time most effectively. We all know about prioritization, but I think sometimes we try to prioritize too many things, and that obviously means that we're not prioritizing. So I always say go for 2 or 3 things that really need to be done in that day and stick to that. Batching and time blocking are also really, really useful time management tools. So if you put the same kind of tasks together, then you minimize context switching, and you save time and reduce mental fatigue. And then also, if you give yourself a block of time, you can improve your focus and productivity. Like I said, you want to be present in those particular blocks of time. Something else that I know that I have had to do right now after being ill is to review my schedule, because I realized I was doing too much. It is not sustainable. So it's really important to review your schedule to make sure that your time management strategies are still working, and then to make adjustments. Kids change, your work changes, so much stuff can change. It's so important to make sure that your time management strategies are still working for that particular season in your life. All right, so let's move on next to homeschool and learning tips. Homeschooling is often the thing that can throw us when we're working homeschool moms. Most of us are usually used to working. So when you add homeschooling can be super stressful, because obviously you're worried about offering your kid absolutely the best learning experience, and that they get enough, and that you're engaging them in a way that really works for them. So it can be overwhelming to incorporate homeschooling into your life as a working mom. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be so hard, and I have some tips for homeschool and learning. And the first tip, you're probably not going to be surprised if you've even listened to 1 or 2 episodes, is that you need to start with deschooling. You need to spend the time to unlearn what you believe education should be, and then to really open your mind to all the possibilities out there, because that's how you're going to have the most successful homeschool, when you're not thinking this is how it should be, this is how it's always been, but this is how it could be, or what could we do, or just being super open to all the possibilities out there. For working homeschool moms specifically, I really think it's important to homeschool online, because it's going to make your life so much easier, because they're going to save you so much time and stress. They're created by experts, and you don't have to worry about marking, about prep, or anything like that. And it can really help so much to reduce the time that you need to homeschool, and it can help your kids to homeschool independently as well. Then something which is so fundamental and so important and can offer so much learning, and it is really easy as well, is just to encourage reading. So make sure that your kids have an opportunity to go to the library, let them pick out any books that they want. Make sure that there are lots of books available for them. The amount of learning that comes from reading there's no end to it. And it's a really easy way also to kind of encourage them to be creative, to follow their interests. So reading is a really quick shortcut to a very good education. In terms of scheduling your homeschooling, I found homeschooling year round really, really helps us a lot. It just takes the pressure off your day. It means that you can homeschool less, and it also means that you can reduce the slides that happen, or prevent the slides that happen after long breaks. So I always recommend year-round homeschooling. And then obviously I have to say it is important to make sure that you know what the legal requirements are for your state or for your country. Obviously it's different for wherever you are. So just make sure that you know what that is before you start. And then you can also maintain a portfolio as a way to prove what your kid has done. But I think it's also really good to celebrate wins and to see your progress as well. And lastly, when it comes to homeschooling and learning, I think just being patient and flexible are so important, because it can be frustrating, can be difficult at the beginning. It's a major change in your life. So it's really important to be flexible and to stay patient, because this is how you're going to create a learning environment that works for your kid, and how you're going to be able to schedule homeschooling into your day in a way that is manageable. The WHM Collective is a monthly membership on Patreon that was created with you in mind, working homeschool mom. If you're just starting out on your journey, or if you're finding it difficult to find your groove, then the WHM Collective is definitely the membership for you. Each month, we delve into topics that are going to help you thrive as a working homeschool mom, such as homeschooling, schedules, time management, and lots of other juicy topics. I know how busy life is for you, working homeschool mom, and I know how complicated life is too. So that's why this membership is super simple. Each month there's one live workshop, one ebook, and one session of office hours where you can have your questions answered in real time. In addition, you'll get one free coaching session per membership, and an added bonus of having access to all past content, which you can work through in your own time. So if you're feeling like you need some additional support as a working homeschool mom, then I really hope that you will consider joining the WHM Collective, because I know that it will help you so much to find clarity and to move forward in your working homeschool mom life. All right, so let's talk about organization next. So organization is so important, because it's so easy to spend time on things, or to get stuck on things that you don't need to get stuck on. And often these things can be solved by organizing your life and by simplifying your life as well. Decluttering is so important. Let's talk about some tips for organization. Simplifying is my first tip. Declutter regularly, donate things that you don't need, and just try and have a minimal home environment, because it just makes cleaning, organization, finding things so much easier. And then another big thing, which can take a lot of time, is preparing meals. So it's worth it to spend some time on meal planning, maybe cooking some freezer meals, doing meal prep, because when your kids are at home, trust me, they just want to eat constantly. So it's really worth it to spend some time on getting a good system when it comes to meal planning. And the same goes for laundry, because laundry is unending. And there's nothing worse than having to do 50 loads of laundry. So I always say do one load a day. It really can reduce the amount of laundry that you have to do. in terms of organization, when it comes to homeschooling, you can be minimal. You don't need loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of things to homeschool successfully. But just make sure that they're in a place where your kids can find them, that everything's labeled, that they have everything that they need, replace things that break. It's really worth it to be organized with that, because it also means that they can be more independent. So they're not saying, oh, mom, where's this, where's that, when they have to do something. I always recommend, much like rethinking your schedule regularly, is to identify problem areas. Spend some time and write down things, places where you're getting stuck. So a lot of this is to do with chores and things like that, problem areas in the house. How can you simplify this? How can you organize this particular area so that it doesn't cause extra stress and waste time? The next set of tips is about self-care. We all know how important self-care is. We often don't do it. I know that for me. Now, after being ill, I just really had to rethink self-care. I've had a very stressful year when it comes to, in terms of family and things like that. So your body will take what it needs, and it will take it forcefully as well. So it's better to manage your stress, even if you don't feel like you're stressed. So taking self-care, it's very nice, but it's also really, really important. And it's going to make the rest of your life much more manageable. It means it's going to mean that you're going to be able to do everything that you need to do. Some of my best self-care tips. What is self-care for you? So you need to figure out what self-care means for you and not what you think it should look like. Because if you're going to try and force yourself to do something that should be self-care, but it's not really something that you really like, it's not going to work. So figure out what works for you. And then simple things like not drinking too much coffee, staying hydrated, eating healthily. Those things can really mean having a good day or not having a good day as well. There's also the element of pampering yourself. It is important to do, and it is something that we do forget, but it can be really simple, like having a bath or doing something like that, or, calling a friend and spending time connecting with friends. Those are also really good ways to have some self-care in your day. And then I think it's also important to kind of have a hobby, and have a hobby just for the sake of having a hobby, not to be productive, not to sell it on Etsy or whatever. Just have a hobby that you enjoy, that you can really take yourself away from your everyday life, because it really is so useful, and it's so good to have a hobby that's just entirely yours. And lastly, you have to plan self-care. You have to plan it, you have to schedule it, you have to speak to your family members, tell them that they need to be part of it, because it's so easy for us to put ourselves last. But if you put it into your schedule, as with any other important appointment, then that is how you're going to make sure that you have self-care. And you can start really small. Don't think you have to do 3 hours a day. Who has the time for that? And lastly, let's talk about mindset. I think being a working homeschool mom, you need to get your mindset right, because if you're going to go into this new way of life thinking, oh, this is so hard, I can't do it, you are going to fail from the beginning. So you really, really need to get your mindset right. Believe in yourself. I think, first of all, you need to go into this, like I said, trusting your abilities, knowing that you are doing this for the right intention, and that you're going to manage working and homeschooling, and that you're doing it for your kid. Asking for help is also something that can be really hard, but it needs to be done. You have to, it's impossible to do all on your own. If you don't have a partner, if you don't have family members, ask friends, outsource. It's so important to ask for help. And it's actually an act of bravery. It's not a sign of weakness at all. You also need to foster that growth mindset. So a growth mindset is wonderful, because it means that you feel that you can do something. And when things go wrong, or if things go wrong, you can use it as a starting point for figuring out a more positive way forward. You need a growth mindset to be a successful working homeschool mom. And then also remember, you're going to be modeling it for your child as well. Lastly, I think in terms of your kids, I think it's really cool to kind of foster the mindset things from the beginning. You have the time as a working homeschool mom. You can spend more time with them than if they were at school. So you can build a growth library. So a library of resources related to personal growth, education, mindset, and you can share these with your kids as they grow and as they learn. So those are some of the tips that have helped me to get to where I am today, from 2017, when I felt totally overwhelmed, like I had no clue what I was doing, to getting to where I am now, where I feel confident, in my homeschooling abilities, confident in the fact that I will manage to do everything that I need to do and that I have enough me time as well. So if you ever need any help with this, please feel free to reach out. You can also join the WHM Collective because I discuss all these things in the membership, and you have access to ebooks and live workshops where I discuss things related to self-care and homeschool and learning and everything that is important to be a successful working homeschool mom. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please let me know what your greatest takeaway was. You can reach out to me on Instagram at charlottejones247 or on my website at mylittlehomeschool.com, or you could even drop me an email at hello@mylittlehomeschool.com. I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It will help spread the news about being a working homeschool mom, and in that way we can build this wonderful supportive community together. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care.